Hi, in this video I'll show you how to register a new domain name, then we'll sign up for CloudFlare, which will provide us with DNS service, and finally we'll set up G Suite to get an email account that uses our new domain. The first thing we'll need to do is to come up with a domain name that we'd like to register. In this case, I'll just be going with the demo domain. This would be a good time to discuss which provider we'll be using. In this case, I've chosen Dyn. I like them because they have very consistent pricing and not a lot of other junk involved. And what I mean by that is some other websites will try to trick you into signing up for services and products that you don't really need, which end up making this experience unpleasant and very costly. So we'll take a look at that. I'll go ahead and submit this form right now so we can show you the pricing for Dyn. And it looks like it's $15 per year for this domain. They do offer DNS service, but it's at a cost of $60 a year. So I'm just going to go ahead and select the option here that says I'm not ready to use this domain yet, because we'll be signing up for CloudFlare later on, which is free. The next thing that it offers is privacy protection, so we'll go ahead and turn that off too, but that's up to your own discretion. If you'd like to have that on, you're welcome to do it. A lot of providers offer that, and all it does is prevent your registration information from showing up in public registries. Now that may not even be necessary since GDPR passed. If you look any website up, or any domain I mean, in a Whois database, then you can see that the registration information is mostly hidden anyway. All they show in this case is organization, state, and country. And then they provide you with a form that you can use to contact the owner if you need to get in touch with them, but it doesn't expose their information, it just provides a way to send a message to them. So you might want to just leave that off and take your chances, or if you really need to know that that information's not going to be out there, it might be worth paying for it. So they charge $15 a year. And that price is not going to change. There's no promotional period that expires. It will always be $15. So we'll compare that to some other providers. So we'll look over here. You can see Squarespace also provides registration for domain names. And they have a huge selection of the new GTLDs. So that's one thing between providers that you'll notice, is that they don't all support the same extensions at the end. In this case, there's quite a number of them here. But if we go back over to Dyn, what we'll notice, well, I'm not on that screen anymore. Let's see, we'll go back to other products, domain registration, and see they just have a smaller selection, but I find that it's most of the common ones that you'd want to use anyway. If you need something that's a little bit more unusual, you might have to go to a different provider. But we can see here the price varies wildly depending on which extension you're using. Some of them, like this one, is up to $70 a year. And .website is more reasonable at $20 a year. So it depends on what provider you're using. Another one here, Hover, they have the same one for $15.49. So that's a little bit more expensive. And then if we look at GoDaddy, they want $18.99. And register.com, and they won't even tell you how much it is. It just says added to cart. Let's go and look at the cart. And we can't even see what's in our cart until we give them information. So I would not use this company. 1&1 is good. I like them. I use them for some of the domains that basically anytime I need to register a domain that Dyn doesn't have, I'll just use 1&1. They're another example of a company with really good business practices. They've got clear pricing. They do sometimes have promotional periods, but they make it obvious that it's just temporary. They don't try and hide that from you. And they don't try and sign you up for a bunch of junk that you don't need either. So that's my number 2 go-to if the original one, Dyn, doesn't have the extension that I'm looking for. So they do have promotional pricing here. It's $9 a year for 1 year, and then $20 a year. So that's $5 more than Dyn for each year after the first year. So we'll go ahead and register our demo domain with Dyn, but again, depending on which extension you end up choosing, any of those other providers might be less expensive, but just make sure when you are going to check out that you very carefully look at the options that they've selected for you and unselect any of the extra features that are not required. The only thing that you actually need is the domain registration. Any of the add-on features that they're going to try and get you to pay for are not necessary for you to have a working domain. So we'll go ahead and close out of this. And then we'll proceed with our domain registration. So this is pretty straightforward. If you don't have an account, they'll just ask for some basic contact information. So we'll go ahead and fill that in. And again, if you're working for a business and you don't want to have a specific person's name on there, all you have to do is put information in here that if somebody used it to try and get in touch with you, that it would actually work. So it doesn't have to be a specific person. So what I like to do is just put in something generic like IT department or network administrator or something like that. So we'll go ahead and just fill this form out. And then you'll need to put an email address in for people to contact you. And again, this should be a working email address. Don't put a fake email address in here. If you don't want it to be seen, then you can just use the private filtering, what's it called? Protect your domain and privacy at the top, secret registration. But you do need to put a real email address in here. And they'll tell you here, you have to have a real email address and validate it. If you don't do that, then you could have some problems. So it's in your best interest to do that. Let's see what they say for phone number too. It helps to prevent fraud. So that's good. We don't like fraud. We'll help them prevent fraud. So for now, this information is all correct. So we'll go ahead and submit our form and verify the information is correct and accurate. And then again, they just want to make it very clear that you must have a valid email address so that you can click the link to verify it within 15 days, or you might have a disruption of service. So we'll go ahead and hit add to cart. And in this case, we're just going to create a new account for our demo user. If you've already shopped with them before, you can sign in with your account to link it to your account. Otherwise, we'll just fill in this quick form. Okay, and then it's up to you if you'd like to subscribe to their newsletter. So we'll just leave that blank for now, and then you'll have to accept their terms, and then we'll hit create account. Okay, so they've sent an email, and we'll have to verify the account. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so we'll confirm our account. And there you go, now it's confirmed. And now we'll select proceed to checkout. It's a good idea to have auto renew turned on. So it looks like that's going to happen automatically unless you decline with this checkbox. So it's a good idea, like I said, just to leave this enabled. As long as you have a valid credit card added, then it's going to automatically renew your domain 6 days before the expiration date. That will prevent it from expiring. It's really not pleasant if you've let your domain expire to try and get it back. In the best case, it's only a few days later and you can just renew it like usual. Otherwise, there's a stage 2, which it's expired and deactivated, but they've left it on hold for you to get it back if you want to, and there's usually an expensive fee if you want to recover it after that point. And then the third stage is released back into the pool, and anyone else can go out and register it. And that's really not good, because then someone else can grab it and take over your domain. So it's a good idea just to have a good credit card on file and leave auto renew turned on. So you just fill in your credit card number, expiration date, security code. So we'll go ahead and do that, and your billing address, and then you'll go ahead and hit place order. So I'll go ahead and fill this form out, and then we'll come back. Okay, now that our order's been placed, I'll just talk about the referral code. So obviously I can't use my own referral code, so we didn't do that when we were checking out. but there is a referral code that will be in the description that will get you 15% off if you decide to go with Dyn. There's also going to be a referral link in the description if you'd like to go with 1&1. So those are, like I said earlier, our two preferred providers, but you're free to use any other provider you'd like. Now that we've got our domain, we'll go back to My Services, and you can see it listed here. So that's good, it's all set. Domain registration is what we're going to use next. And we can see here, name servers are parked DNS. So what that means is that this domain name belongs to us, but it doesn't really do anything yet. It just gives the user a screen that says this domain's not being used yet, basically. So let's fix that, and we're going to do that by signing up for CloudFlare, and then we'll go ahead and sign up for G Suite to get our email working. So let's go ahead and sign up for CloudFlare, which we can do by going to cloudflare.com and then clicking on sign up. So we'll just fill out this registration form, and you can decide if you'd like to have their newsletter sent to you or not. They do have some pretty good information that comes through this that has product offers, and also lets you know when new services and products have been released, which they do release new products fairly regularly, so it's good to be aware of those when they happen. So we'll go ahead just for this demo and we'll uncheck that, and then we'll hit create account. And then put in your domain name that we just registered, and then click add site. And it's just letting you know that it's going to go through your DNS records and try to pull over what it can, but in this case there is nothing there because it's new and it's just set to the parked DNS servers, so there's no way to skip it. We'll just have to let it go, so we'll do that. And they do have several plans you can choose from. In this case, just for demonstration purposes, we'll go with the free service, but if you start using it and you really decide that you like it, but there are some features missing that you'd like to take advantage of, they do have the next one up that's only $20 a month that does add some really good features. So in this case, we'll just go with the free one for now, and we'll just hit confirm. So in this case, what we're going to want to do, since it was just set up with that parked server, all of this is pretty much junk, so we'll want to delete everything that's in here with this little X. We'll hit OK to confirm. And then we'll hit continue. So this is an important step to change the name servers that are assigned to this domain to the ones that it gives you. So if you've used Dyn, I'll show you how to do that right now. Otherwise, they do have instructions if you click this link that will walk you through it. So we'll go ahead and copy the first one, and all you do is go back to, well, we'll start over at the beginning in case you didn't follow along. So on the My Services screen, you just scroll down to your domain, go to domain registration, and then under name servers, we'll go to edit name servers, and we'll just want to delete everything that's in this box, and then we'll paste in the first one that it gave us. We'll go back and copy the second one, and we'll put that on a new line, and we can just make that a little bit bigger so we can confirm that they are on separate lines. So this looks correct, and then just click on Save Name Servers. Okay, it's been updated, and it could take up to 24 hours. It usually doesn't take anywhere near that long. It's usually ready almost right away or just within a couple of minutes. So we'll go back over to CloudFlare and say continue. We've done this. Okay, so they are just giving us a quick little overview. We've done this. We've logged in, removed the parked DNS name servers, replaced them with our 2 new ones. We've saved the settings. It did give us that message it could take up to 24 hours, and CloudFlare has not yet sensed that that has happened, so it says it'll automatically recheck. So if you're not in a hurry, all you have to do basically is just log out and come back tomorrow and it'll be ready. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and just click recheck and see if it happens to have caught it by now, and it's gonna check back in a few hours. So we'll just wait for that to take effect and then we'll come back. Okay, it looks like our name server settings have been updated, so we'll go ahead and move on from here. So the most important screen on CloudFlare that we'll be working with is the DNS tab. So we deleted everything because they were all junk from our parked DNS servers that were assigned to it after we made our purchase. So if you have a website that you want to work with this, you'd have to add that here. So in the meantime, because I don't want to forget, it's important to go back to your email account that you used to sign up for all of these services and make sure that you're not missing any email verifications, because we don't want things to just stop working. So you'll get your receipt from Dyn. There's nothing that you need to do in there. You also just get a quick start guide kind of thing that just tells you you can get new DNS service, but we're going to use CloudFlare, so we don't need to do that. And then they give you a coupon code to use after you've already made your purchase. So if you need to make another purchase, I guess that could be useful at that time. And then CloudFlare. This was sent after we submitted the registration form. There's nothing you need to do there. And we do need to verify our CloudFlare email address, so we'll go ahead and do that. So now they're happy. We can delete that. And they're just letting us know that our domain has been added to our CloudFlare account, and they're very nice and have put our previous domain, our previous DNS servers down here, as well as the new ones that we have. So that way, if this happens to have not been a new registration, but you're moving from an old provider and you forgot to write down your old settings, they have it preserved in an email for you so you can reference it later. So that's all that we'll have to do there. We've got our DNS ready to start accepting records. So now we'll move on to set up G Suite. So to do that, we actually have another referral code that you can use. So if we go to the G6 Technology Services website, and if we go up to Services and to G Suite, and go all the way to the bottom, click here to get started, this will use our referral code. And this is what the screen will look like. So if you'd prefer not to do that, what you can do is just go straight to Google and put in G Suite, and then click on the G Suite link and go to Get Started, and it takes you right to the Get Started screen, which should be where we end up after we click Get Started here. So we'll take this time to go over the 2 plans that they have. These are all billed monthly. The basic plan is $5 a month, and the business plan is $10 a month, and that's per user per month. So in this case, you get, it says at the top here, you do get a 14-day free trial. That is not exclusive to our referral link, so you still get 14 days if you just go straight to their website without using the referral code. And the main difference between the 2 plans are the number of, the amount of space that you get. The $5 plan, you get 30 gigabytes, and that 30 gigabytes is shared between your Google Drive and Gmail. So if you fill it all up with Google Drive, you're not going to have room for your mail. So this should work for most cases unless you're storing just a large amount of data, and then you'll need to switch over to the business plan. And you'll see here it says to get unlimited space in Google Drive and Gmail, then you can sign up for business, but there's also this little cross here. So if we go down to the bottom to see what that means, accounts with fewer than 5 users will receive 1 terabyte per user. So if you're only signing up for 1 or 2 people, then you'll get a terabyte of space on that account instead of unlimited. But at such a time that you pass 4 users, so if you do have 5 or more, then you'll actually get unlimited space. So it's up to you to decide at this point which package you want. I do believe you can change that after the fact, so if you'd like to start off with the basic plan to get started, and then you decide that you'd like more space later, then you can upgrade at another time. They also do add some other features for the business plan, which for smaller businesses and individuals really aren't all that useful, like Google Vault. That's something that would be great in an enterprise environment, but for a smaller business probably wouldn't have much use. So for this demo, we'll go ahead with the basic plan for $5 a month per user. And you'll see this is the same screen that we got to, just going straight to the sign up page from Google search without using the referral code. So it's up to you. If you'd like to support us, then use our referral link. Otherwise, if for some reason you don't want to do that, you can still use G Suite. Just go to gsuite.google.com and you can sign up. So we'll go ahead and fill this form out. So you'd want to put in, now this will be your administrator user. So if you are of the practice of putting in generic information for an administrator, then you can do that and then create yourself a personal account that's not an administrator at another time, which is recommended practice. It's a good idea to honor the principle of least access or least privilege and not have every account that you use be an administrator, and this isn't an exception. So if you don't want to spend the extra money on another user that basically just sits there and doesn't get used unless you have to make administrative changes, I understand that. Just try to observe good security practices, use a good, strong, secure password, and just try not to leave the account logged in when you're not using it. So for the demo, we're just going to create one that's called demo user. So this is where you'd choose whether you're going to make an administrator account that's generic or put in your own name. And your current email address, this will be the same one that we've been using all along to sign up with these other services. If you forget your G Suite password for your administrator account, it will actually use your external email address to send a reset link. So make sure it's a good, valid email address that you have access to. And then you'll want to select your country and click Next. So yes, we do have a domain. We'll go ahead and put our domain name in that we've registered here. Click Next. And we do want to use this to set up the account, so we'll go ahead and click Next again. And so how you'll sign in. So you need to choose a username for your administrator account. And this, again, like we just discussed earlier, it could be just admin or administrator at your domain, or you could make it your own name. So security best practice, what I like to do is just have an admin user and then create yourself an account after the fact that's not an admin. And that way it limits the exposure to your G Suite account, so it makes it less likely that someone will be able to get in there and change settings on you. So it's up to you. It's recommended to create a separate user account, and we'll go over how to do that once we get into it. And agree and continue. You can put in a promotion code here if you'd like. We don't have one for this demo, but if you are provided with a promo code, this is where you'd enter it to get a discount. So we'll go ahead and click Next. And then it looks like it does want us to put in a credit card. So when that trial expires, it has some place to bill. So we'll go ahead and I'll fill that out and we'll come back. Okay. Now that we've got our credit card added and submitted that information, it's created our account, and we can go ahead and finish the setup. So it walks you right through how to add people to your account. So if you did go ahead and create the G Suite account just now with a generic administrator account, like is recommended, then this is where you can go ahead and add yourself. So we'll go ahead and do that just to show how it's done. Hit start. And you can choose what email address you'd like to give them, something at your domain. And this is a good time to decide what your convention is going to be for email addresses. Some people like to use first initial last name, or maybe first name last initial, or first name dot last name, something like that. So you want to be consistent with that so that your users or customers are not confused. Having some people in one format and some in another can be very confusing. So we'll go ahead, let's see, we like to use the first initial last name. So in this case it would be like that. And then you can go ahead and add another user if you wanted to. We don't need to do that right now. So we confirm that we've added everyone. Next. And now we need to verify the domain and set up email. So this is the fun part. So we have successfully logged in. Okay, so I don't think it's actually going to do anything automatically here. It's just giving us instructions. So basically all it's going to do is have us add a TXT record. So we'll go ahead and just copy this information that it gives us. And we'll go back to our DNS. And if you're not there already, I'll just start over so you can follow along. So from the home, you just click on the domain and go up to DNS. And then we'll change the type to TXT. The name, we'll just put an @ in there. And then click to configure our text, and we just paste the value that it gave us before. You can leave automatic TTL and just hit add record. And that should take effect right away. So we'll go over back to here. We've added our record. Yep, we've saved it. And what does it want us to do now? Oh, we're going to add our MX record. So we've opened the panel. Yep, so this might look a little bit intimidating, but I'll walk you through each step. It's really not hard. So what we'll do, we'll just start at the top. You just select the domain name that it gives us here. And remember the priority that's associated with it. In this case, 1 for this first one. And our host is @. And I'll just explain what that means real quick. So when you enter DNS records into, I'll go back over here, back into our screen. You can, for any type of record, it wants a name. So when you fill that in, if you put www, then that's the subdomain that it will associate this IP address with. And when you want to associate something with just the root domain without a subdomain, different providers are different. Sometimes you leave it blank or put in some other character. With CloudFlare, you just put an @ and it will add the record at the root instead of to a subdomain. So we want an MX record with the name @ and then click to configure. Server, we'll just paste what it gave us before, and priority, we'll just double check, is a 1. That's correct. So save. And then automatic TTL is okay, and then hit add record. And then we'll be repeating this several times, so we'll go ahead and just prepare this by going to @ and click to configure. Go back over, priority is 5. Copy. Paste our server and change the priority to 5. Save, add record. Okay, now we have all of our mail servers in here that will point mail sent to this domain to Google. And with CloudFlare, there's no master save on the page. If you try to edit something, then as soon as you click out of it, it saves it. And if you needed to edit this, as soon as you click out of it, it saves it. So there's no need to actually click a master save button anywhere. So we'll just delete that because that's garbage. And in this case, if the record has extra information or it could be large, it does give you that pop-up where you have to type your content and then you click save, and then as soon as you do that, it does save it. So it does automatically save. So we'll go back over here. We have created the records and they're saved because they save automatically. So we'll verify the domain and set up email. So it's just going to check that real quick. All emails are now going to be routed to our G Suite account. So we'll click next. And then we can see here it's just giving us another opportunity to change our plan. So it looks like we can't get past this screen without choosing something, but we'll go ahead and just select basic again because that's what we want for the demo. So I just want some extra information. So we'll just go ahead and we'll just give it extra information. Your business name is optional, so you don't have to put that in. And number of employees, including you. So you just fill whatever in here is applicable. Save and continue. And we'll wait for the admin console to load. Okay, now we should have a fully functioning G Suite installation. So let's test that out and check our brand new Gmail inbox. So since I already have Gmail open from our other account, we'll just go over there. And as you can see, we did get some confirmation emails from setting up G Suite. So we'll go ahead and just use the user switcher to change to our new account. Okay, so now we've got our access to our brand new Gmail account. So we'll go ahead and skip through this. And we can see that there's no mail. So in order to test that, we'll go back over to our existing account and send a message to this one. Then we'll go back over to our other account, and here we go. So incoming mail works. We've got our welcome messages. We'll go ahead and test this out. Yeah, so this is a nice user or a nice feature in Gmail that warns you when somebody sends you an email that has a name similar to someone who's in your organization to prevent phishing or other fraud. So in this case, this is fine because obviously we just sent ourselves an email and I used the same name with the other account. So we'll go ahead and just ignore that for now, and you can see our test email did come through. So outgoing mail is almost guaranteed to work, but we'll go ahead and just reply to this anyway. And then Smart Compose is nice, we'll leave that on. If you haven't used that, it's very helpful. It comes up with suggestions, kind of like the auto correct on your phone, except it's a lot better than that. It actually comes up with whole sentences that it will suggest. Okay, so we'll go ahead and send this. And then we'll go back over to our other account. Okay. And here it is. And we don't get that same message about the incoming mail with the username because it noticed that we sent that message in the first place. So everything seems to be working perfectly fine. That should be all that we'll need to do for the basic setup. We have registered our new domain name, so everything's working just fine here. We've set up CloudFlare with our DNS for Gmail and for our verification for G Suite. And we've gotten G Suite set up. We have our single admin user that's in here. We verified that email works, both coming and going. So that should be all that we'll have to do. We'll put out another video later that has some other options and customizations that you can do to G Suite. But for now, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions and would like to open a paid support case, our contact information will be in the video description. And have a great day.